Whoops. Hello, everybody. It's go time. It's 4:20 p.m. and it's Friday, and we're live on YouTube, X, Instagram, and other locations. We've got an awesome episode for you today. Super excited. There's a lot of discussion nowadays about hemp-derived cannabinoids. A lot of the vernacular that's used, for lack of better words, is this untested, unsafe gas station cannabis, right? Maybe you've heard this, maybe not. And so I just decided it's been a while. Like when I go to smoke shops, usually I'm just in and out, getting some papers, getting some crutches, getting a lighter. I don't know. I've never really looked at all of the things that have been sold in a smoke shop, but I decided to do just that. And I was blown away at all of the other things that they sell at smoke shops, including a stimulant that looks like a pill called Adderall. I've seen other ones called Addy, and you might have guessed it's meant to look and I guess feel like Adderall. Definitely looks like it. There were there was a snortable stimulant called booger sugar, which you guessed it, is supposed to look and feel like cocaine. There were, of course, sexual supplements, fake pee, yeah, lots of things. Kratom, 7-hydroxy, tianeptine, things that seem like we should be much more concerned about that as opposed to the hemp-derived cannabinoids. But, I digress. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to interview the manager of a smoke shop, right? And so that is what we're going to do in today's episode. Thank you all for joining me. Once again, it is just 4:22. It's 4:22. Hope you enjoyed the little joke there. I didn't make it up. It's just a joke, I've seen online. But anyways, let's get right into it. Before we get into it, I just wanted to say that I have slowed it down a little bit on the podcast. I hope to get back at it. I've got several awesome episodes on the backlog, and this is one of them. This episode originally premiered on Patreon. If you'd like to become a member and support this show, just go to colememo.com/PATREON. And that's one of the best ways to support this show. It's only $3 a month, and you get access to episodes as they release. So, without further ado, it's time for another episode of
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memo. The Cole Memorandum.
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memorandum.
The Cole Memo.
The Cole Memo is what allows this whole thing to go on.
I mean, you have to respect the memo.
Hey, this is Tommy Chong, and you're listening and watching The Cole Memo.
Welcome back to the show. How's it going?
Hey, cool. It's going good.
For people who don't remember you, do you want to tell them your name?
Yeah, I'm Justine.
Yeah.
I come around once in a while.
Yeah, you're on the show every once in a while. I think last time you were on the show, we were talking about metric, which coincidentally, Illinois just announced within the last week or so, for people that care, that the transition to metric will happen sometime this summer. So
Lucky them.
Yep. They have that to look forward to. So anyways, today we're going to talk about an experience you have gained, I guess, for lack of better words. You have had the experience of working in a smoke shop, which I thought would be interesting to talk about today, because there's a lot of different talk about the items that are sold in smoke shops and gas stations. Specifically, I'm thinking hemp shops, but I've been to smoke shops in the past, and I've been surprised at the wide variety of products they do offer, not only with regard to hemp-derived products, but other things I've never really even heard of. So But before we get into any of that, I just thought it would be interesting to talk about, generally speaking, your experience working in a smoke shop where it's like, I guess just to paint the picture, you have gotten experience working with many different types of people who use many different substances. Am I wrong?
You are absolutely correct. It's been a pretty wild experience. Like you said, I come into contact with many different kinds of people using a wide variety of substances. So, everything from, they're called oil burners. If you don't know what an oil burner is, that is the type of pipe that is typically used to smoke methamphetamine. I sell people sexual enhancement drugs, including we have videotape head cleaner, street name poppers. We used to sell whipped cream cartridges, which people used to do whippets. And right now, we sell some quote unquote mushroom products. It's really nootropics. So it's just like a blend of different, probably research chemicals that produce similar effects. But
What was the one you said before the mushrooms? Was it, you said duster or something like that?
Oh, we used to sell whipped cream chargers.
Oh,
Yeah.
whipped cream chargers.
Yeah.
Which is not duster. That's like a nitrous gas.
Yeah, it's whippets. Yeah.
Whippets, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. But our top seller that we have right now, is kratom, or if you listen to Hamilton Morris, kratom, as some people pronounce it, and tianeptine. And I think those are really the craziest things that we sell the most of.
Yeah. So, just to ignore or acknowledge the cat in the room. If people are hearing crinkling, it's because we have a cat that's on a crinkle sack, which is perfect for doing podcasts.
Yeah.
But anyways,
we really thought about that one.
Yeah. So let's back up a little bit. You said kratom, tianeptine. I feel like there are other things I saw, but why don't we start with those? And actually, let's get back to those. You said people buy oil burners they use for methamphetamine.
Mhm.
What do people buy for crack? Did you mention that yet?
We don't really sell crack pipes necessarily. I think that if people are going to use anything that we sell for that, we have like cheap little glass chillums that people buy in bulk. So I would assume that that is probably what they're using those for.
Are there any other like drug use kits? I recall seeing that like in some smoke shops that I've gone to, that the local health department has provided like Narcan and things like that. Are there any other things that you sell that would provide for like let's say the safe use of drugs? Like some people sell drug testing kits.
I think we do sell a fentanyl testing kit. But most of our like testing stuff is going to be more for at-home drug tests.
Okay.
We don't have a lot of supplies, unfortunately, to test to make sure that what you're buying is pure or clean.
Sure. Gotcha. Okay. So, any other substance, for lack of better words, paraphernalia or that you sell that you can think of? I think the meth pipes are probably pretty interesting for some folks that are listening in.
Yeah, that's interesting. Another thing along those lines is that there are certain, like concentrate vaporizers, like that you would refill. Think along the lines of like a Puffco pen, but not a Puffco pen, like a Yocan, something like that. But there are certain brands of those that we sell that people can use to also be oil burners. So that's always kind of interesting that somebody will come in, because the thing about working at the smoke shop and selling all of these things is that the people who are coming in to buy these things, they, because of the nature of where you work, they just talk very openly about what they are using their things for. Like, I've never had anybody use the term meth in front of me for what they're using their oil burners and stuff for. But I have had somebody make a joke after I sold him some oil burners and a torch and some butane. I rang him out and I gave him his total, and he said, well, shit, that's cheaper than the dope we just bought. So, people will make jokes like that and stuff. And, when it comes to like the vaporizers, they'll say like, yeah, it's an oil vape and I'm not using it for cannabis. So, and it's just like, I don't really need to know that, but that's cool. I'm glad that you feel safe and comfortable to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of back in the day when you'd like try to be honest with your head shop guy. Like, I know this is a water pipe, but I'm not using it for tobacco.
Right.
Okay, so sounds like we covered like tools for for use. I mean, one thing that stood out to me that you've mentioned in the past, and it's hard to give people that might be listening some examples, but let's just put it this way. Am I wrong to say that the people that you see come in, like there's, maybe some, and I, look, I don't mean to put you in a position where you're judging books by their covers,
I'm
but
always judging books by their covers.
but the people that come in and buy these oil pipes or paraphernalia like for smoking meth, I mean, is it? Are you surprised sometimes, I guess, by the type of person that comes in where you're like, I wouldn't think you'd be doing this? Or is it, you know what I'm asking?
Yeah. I mean, usually if I'm surprised, they tell me that they're buying it for somebody else. But for the most part, I mean, there is kind of a type. If anything, I would say I get more like sad or like disappointed by some of the people who come in and buy those. Like, there's one customer in particular that I'm thinking of that she's like a beautiful young girl, and she always seems like kind of guarded, but when you can get her to come out of her shell, she's got like a really sweet personality, and she comes in and buys those, and it's always just like, I see her, I'm just like, girl, please stop. I really wish you didn't feel like you had to do this, but, even though I do have some judgments in my head, I never let them be known, when I'm working with people.
Fair. Okay. So I think at this point, I was just curious about the type of people that I didn't know if you had like a sometimes like a grandma come in and like,
Well, that's the thing, is that people who are using that stuff, they could be my age, 35 years old, and they look like someone's grandma. And there's certain times of month that I'm assuming it's something where like some sort of assistance paycheck goes out, and we start seeing person after person. It's going to burn through the couch, Cole. But sorry.
please had a smoking emergency over here.
It's cool. It's just a slip cover. But yeah, we have a lot of people come in certain times of the month, and they all look very old. And there are quite a few like kind of old like biker types that will definitely come in and buy the oil burners and butane, and usually they're the ones who are more open about it. It seems like anybody who is younger, they are pretty hush hush about it. They understand that it's pretty taboo. I sold an oil burner to a Nazi once.
How did you know they were a Nazi?
Well, he had a big buck knife in his back pocket, and I can't remember exactly what the slogan was on his shirt, but it had like that eagle. And then I think, yeah, I can't remember what the back of it said, but I remember I Googled it because I was like, huh. And it was affiliated with neo-Nazis. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's certainly interesting. Well, sounds like a variety of people, including still the Nazis, use meth.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So some of the other substances that you sell, um, let's start with the fun one before we talk about the other ones. Hemp derived cannabinoid products or just like THCA flower. Do you sell things like that?
We do, yeah. We've got edibles and drinks and pre-rolls and flour and disposable vapes and cartridges.
And by the way, let's just stop for a second. In case people have never gone into a smoke shop, you don't just sell things that you could smoke meth out of. You you sell bongs, bowls,
Mhm.
papers, grinders, rolling trays. Like that's
Yeah.
mostly what you sell. Am I wrong?
Yes. Yeah, it's mostly like accessories and yeah, like anything
I know we
you
just
could
really
eat.
leaned into the meth side of
Yeah.
it, so I wanted to like make sure that in case people like don't go to a smoke shop or a head shop, whatever you might call it, that they that they understand what's actually going on.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like a shady place by any means. At least at my store, I know at other vape shops and smoke shops and stuff, they will have their oil burners like out on display. At my store, you kind of got to look for them if you want to find them. And it's very well lit, and we always have music playing, and everything's really colorful and organized and clean. And yeah, it's not like you walk in from a door and you got to have a password off the alley, and smells funky in there. It smells like weed most of the time, honestly.
Yeah. So you sell all of those things, and you sell what people are calling hemp-derived cannabinoids,
Mhm.
like edibles, THCA flower, pre-rolls, stuff like that.
Yeah, and the thing with what we sell is that it is both far cheaper than buying it at the dispensary, number one. Number two, um, it is age restricted, but I believe most of our hemp products are 18, not 21, but I could be wrong. Honestly, I don't, the point of sale system does the age verification for me. I just scan the ID and it tells me like, yeah, you're good. Um, and we also are able to get like edibles specifically. It seems that our edibles are a lot more potent as far as like how many milligrams of THCA or whatever are in them. Um, you can buy a 100 milligram Delta 8/9 gummy in a 2-pack at my store for $3. Versus at the dispensary to get 100 milligrams of anything, it's usually like at least $25.
Yeah. Now, do you still have like a lower dose product or one that you can like kind of like the dispensary has where it's like a chocolate bar, but you've got like 10 milligram bites or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah, that's something that we just started getting in. Honestly, we might have had them before. I don't know. I didn't really shop there before I worked there. But yeah, it's a kind of a newer thing to our store that you can buy stuff in like 5 milligram, 2 milligram, 10 or less.
Gotcha. And do people buy a lot of like these hemp derived products in, let's just start with that. Are they a big seller?
They're a decent seller. They're definitely not our top seller, but they are like creeping up in popularity. I think that our pricing really drives a lot of it, because you can come, like, we have like $10 king size pre-rolls, and they're decent enough to do the job. So why would you go to the dispensary and spend 15, $20 on a 1 gram pre-roll,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty out of touch with dispensary pricing, so if you have better price comparisons, please jump
I
in.
was just thinking about it. Like, I really don't even know what it is nowadays. Today is February 15th, 2025. Yeah, I honestly don't know what the cost of a joint at the dispensary is. I think I've got my phone on me, but we'll see here in a moment. But is that what the people buy, is a joint?
Yeah, we sell a lot of pre-rolls. We do have like eighths and quarters, so 3.5 grams and 7 grams of hemp flower, THCA flower that you can buy, but it's not quite as popular. Usually, like if we have it on sale, we sell a good amount of it, but yeah, we really don't like go through it that much. Pre-rolls are usually what people are after, or gummies, or vape.
Wait.
Yeah, so we have carts. We sell like 2 gram carts for $15. Or
Are they THCA?
yes. Well, kind of. They're like a mix of different cannabinoids, so it depends on which one you get, but I think it is supposed to be like THCA, I don't know.
Yeah. So it looks like the dispensary price is at least one, just that I'm just checking online randomly on the map. They're about, depending on the brand, it looks like some brands are about $20 for a gram pre-roll. Some brands are $13 for a pre-roll, but this is pre-tax. So I'm saying some $16, 16, 13, so around, I can see why if you're talking, it's $10 out the door, right?
Yeah, like
didn't you tell me there was somebody that always comes in and like they're like, "Where's them $4 pre-rolls?" or something like that?
Yeah, that guy didn't come around anymore. But yeah, he would come in like every day and be like, "You got one of them $5 pre-rolls for me?" And I would have to be like, "Sir, we don't sell $5 pre-rolls."
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't live there.
But a good customer service, I'd find a $6 pre-roll for him.
Nice. Okay, so the joints are the main sellers, the joints and the vapes.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. So what's like the next substance that comes to mind that like is your top seller? How about that?
A top seller is definitely kratom.
Kratom. What do people, do they just know what they're looking for when they come in? There's not really a lot of questions, or do you have to like talk to people about kratom when you're like selling it? Like,
it kind of depends. So for people who don't know like what kratom is, it is a plant matter that these plants are grown in like Southeast Asia. It interacts with your opioid receptors. It's an opioid antagonist. So, because it's natural and much, much harder, I don't even know if you can overdose on it, but I would imagine you probably could. But a lot of people use it to get off of opioids or as like an opioid replacement. You can find a lot of other like websites and stuff online that are going to list all these like super positive health benefits. But the way that I see it, like me selling kratom, is me playing a role in the opioid epidemic. But it is something where a lot of people, like, I feel like a majority of the people who come in to buy it have either already done their research or they have been doing it for a really long time, so they kind of know what they're looking for. And then we do sometimes have people that come in that they really don't know what they want or anything, and those are kind of tough because personally, like, I've never tried it. I've never taken it. I'm afraid that I would like it if I did, so I just stay away from it. And so, and with kratom, there's like how weed has indica sativa hybrid, kratom has white strains, green strains, red strains. So white is supposed to would be like the sativa strain, but it's supposed to be more energizing. Green is kind of the hybrid, and then red is more of like the sedating, more heavy pain relief strains. So that's kind of where you start, is you start with like, okay, what kind of effect are you looking for? What are you hoping to get out of your experience with kratom? And then from there, there's different strains in each of those categories. And that is where I get completely lost, because since I've never tried it, I don't know the difference between a red Bali and a red Borneo, but the strains do point to like where the origin of that kratom plant is. So, I know like what they are and where they're from, but it's just hard for me to be like, oh yeah, you need this one over this one because this one, like, I don't know, I have to just talk to people and get like anecdotal evidence of people being like, oh yeah, red Borneo is the strongest, so you should try that one.
Yeah. Interesting. So, what are the people like when they come in? Like, I mean, I know that's, again, you said it differs, but like, why? I guess what I'm asking is, you said you feel why do you feel you're contributing to the opioid epidemic?
Um, because if you look online, it'll say it can be habit forming. And even the people who are coming back and buying this every 2 or 3 days or multiple times a day will just say, yeah, it can be habit forming. But, a lot of these people are like, well, the classic, I can quit anytime. But then they come in and I see how their mood changes over time as they like increase their dose and kind of change the things that they're buying. Like they'll go from buying capsules of kratom to buying shots of the extract. And by shots, I mean like liquid shots, not like injectables. Like nobody's shooting up kratom.
Yeah.
At least at my store, we don't have the means to provide that to somebody. But like it kind of progresses because there's products coming out all the time that are like more and more concentrated extracts of kratom that have just the feel good stuff in it. So you can take a much smaller form of kratom that is much more powerful. And it really like fucks your tolerance.
So it's like a tincture.
Kinda. I mean, they're capsule or they're little pills, like tablets.
They're just very concentrated.
Yeah, because they just, like I said, they take just the like feel good stuff.
What is that? Is it got a chemical name?
7-hydroxymetragenine or mitragine. Yeah, the 7-hydroxy. A lot of people come in and call it 7-O. But that's just the chemical that's in kratom that gives you the pain relief and the euphoria, similar to what people can experience when they take, hydrocodone or Oxycontin.
That sounds pretty lit, to be honest.
Well, they don't come in looking like they're feeling very lit. I worked an opening shift just the other day, and I pulled up. It was almost half an hour before the store opens because I am very punctual. But I saw one of our regular customers literally parked across the street. And I'm not kidding you, at 9 o'clock, the second that clock hit 9 a.m. and I was opening that store, that guy, he whipped up into our parking lot. And like, this is a bigger dude. And he got out of his truck and in my door so fast. It was unbelievable. It was just like, I need a 2-pack of the 7-hydroxy, 2-pack of the 7-hydroxy. And
You
like,
think he had a lot of other things to do that morning, maybe?
I doubt it. I don't know. But even if he did, like, the fact that you can't even start your morning and like go with your day without first coming into the smoke shop and spending, between $10 to $50 just to get you through that morning until you can come back later that day and purchase the rest of what you need for that day and the next day,
Yeah. Is it apparent? Like, is this guy a regular?
Oh yeah.
Does he ever tell you why he uses it?
I don't ask.
So he doesn't give you any indication?
Uh-uh.
Does he limp or anything?
Nope.
Doesn't
No.
look like he's like, I just wonder, like, are these, I know I'm trying to give people a lot of benefit of the doubt, but like,
Well, I will tell you that, especially in the mornings, a majority of our kratom customers that we see throughout the day are coming in wearing like high visibility gear, which leads me to believe that they work blue collar jobs like construction, things like that. And so I think that it's just a lot of like literally people who were on opioids. Cause it just makes me think of that show that came out on Netflix about the opioids and about that family that, created Oxycontin, and how like the whole story running through it was that there was this guy who worked in a mechanic shop who got injured on the job because he like fell off of a forklift or whatever and got put on pain pills, and that like progressed into opioid addiction. And I think it's got to be a pretty similar story with most of these guys that, they're working construction or, plumbing, heating and air conditioning, anything like that all the time. Your body gets worn out, your body breaks down, you go to the doctor starts giving you Oxycontin, then all of a sudden, oh, there's an opioid epidemic, I can't give you this anymore. Or you even get to a point where you're like, I'm not taking this shit anymore, like it's killing me, I need to find a way to get off it. So you go on the internet, you find out about kratom. Sounds great. It's legal. You can get it at the smoke shop, and you start your own regimen, and without realizing that it is truly a replacement. Like it's doing the same thing to you. It's just easier to get.
yeah. Yeah. Well, so you think it's just as bad, is your point?
I think so. I think that the access to it is really what makes it harmful, because you're not waiting for your insurance to refill your prescription for it. You can just come into the smoke shop, and we're open 15 hours out of the day, and we're selling it all the time. And there's no purchase limit restriction or possession limit or anything like that in Illinois that I know of.
But do you think there's any equation to like, if you were to work at a liquor store and you see that, the people that are the type that will be there at opening and they're going to go in there and slam too. It's like, yeah, I mean, it sucks that people abuse things, but like, I guess what I'm asking is cause I know that maybe this is, there's pretty, few different words to describe what I'm about to say, nihilistic, anarchistic, or whatever, but I have this like rosy idea of what America was when there was like morphine in the Sears catalog.
I know you think that people should be able to take as many drugs as they
No,
want,
but-
and everybody should just leave them the fuck alone.
No, I don't like. I hope actually that most people don't do drugs. I'm just saying, like, I'm wondering what the question I'm asking is, like, if kratom or this concentrated form of it is really good. Like, if I broke my fucking leg or something and my doctor was being a bitch, like, could I responsibly go and get some of this, like, tincture and, like, get a little bit of fucking relief if my doctor's, like, being, like, stingy about that's what the, you know, like,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, where it's like you think the access is too open. But I'm wondering if, like, maybe, because, like, it's hard to tell, like, if the dosage is accurate all the time and consistent. You know, there's no testing requirements on any of these things. And, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of information we're lacking. And, like, part of it is because of prohibition of these substances. And, like, as horrible as it sounds, like, if you allow what you're allowing right now, like, you're able to tell these stories, or anecdotes, of course, but, like, if people actually studied this, you know, I feel like it would make your case much more powerful, because it's like, yeah, this is what happens when people use kratom. They definitely, it's not maybe habit forming. It is habit forming. And maybe they, like, put on that message like the cigarettes have on it, and make it just, like, very clear that, like, you don't want to do this stuff, but, like, if you need to, here's the accurate labeling on it and everything else. And, like, I don't know. Do you think that's just, like, a crazy idea? Do you think people, like, can't control themselves? Like, and again, I bring up the liquor store, and I'm just trying to, like,
No, I understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I think there are people who can control themselves, and then there are people who cannot. And so I guess when I speak about, like, how dangerous I think that kratom is, that's really more directed towards the type of people who cannot be trusted to regulate themselves on it. Like, for example, I've got a guy who he kept coming back all summer, and we have these kratom energy drinks the brand is called White Rabbit. And he and his family are from Miami, Florida. And he comes in and he buys that stuff by the 12 pack. I mean, these are like $8 a can. And he's buying it by the case. And he says that when he and his family get together and they have, like, backyard barbecues or get-togethers and stuff, that this is what they put out in their cooler instead of, like, beer, and that everybody just drinks it and it's totally fine. And everybody loves it. So there are people who can do stuff like that, who can just, like, I just want one every once in a while to take the edge off or whatever. But for the most part, I even see that as kind of a slippery slope, because even those people who are just doing it every once in a while, I'm still seeing them pretty regularly, So it's like, yeah, I only do it every 2 weeks, but you're going to make sure you get that every 2 weeks kind of thing.
Interesting. And so is you're saying, just to wrap back around, that is your top seller, kratom?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, it's definitely the thing that we make. Well, I was going to say it's the thing that we make the most money on. If you look in terms of, like, retail price versus what we paid for it versus wholesale price, it's not our biggest moneymaker. But as far as, like, what drives our sales, yeah, I would say it's definitely that.
Gotcha. And is it the concentrated form that's mostly your seller out of that again? Is it, or is it so people always use the really concentrated form?
Yeah, I would say so.
They start on the powder or the tablets, and they just inevitably go to this.
Yeah.
Is it like what it is? The concentrated form is a tablet as well?
Yeah, either tablet or like a liquid shot.
Okay.
But excuse me. So one thing that happens a lot at our store is kratom and tianeptine are fully illegal in Indiana.
Yeah. And go ahead, but tianeptine.
Yeah, we'll get to tianeptine, but kratom and tianeptine are fully illegal in Indiana. And I would say that honestly, out of what we sell, our biggest tickets and our biggest sales that we do are Indiana residents. My biggest kratom sale that I have ever done was $2,400, and that was to a couple guys who were going back to Indiana. Which, if you choose to do that, know that it's, similar to carrying cannabis through Indiana, where that is a felony if you get caught with that. But they will come and they buy the powder and stuff in kilos. So 1,000 gram containers or bags, whatever. And they'll buy like multiple kilos. Isn't that crazy? It makes you think of cocaine, doesn't it?
Yeah, just any drugs. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that does pretty well for us on sales because those kilos are usually between 90 to 110, 120 bucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then okay. And so do they seem like they're, I mean, again, you probably don't ask questions, but do they seem like they're buying it for themselves, or are they coming in all the time buying kilos, and they're
No.
obviously running it and selling it? And then,
I feel like those people are definitely buying it for themselves. Cause they kind of have their schedules, and it seems like that's probably, it's probably been enough time that, you probably went through a kilo of powder.
Interesting. And well, you said, you don't use kratom, but if they're buying this bag of powder, I'm just wondering how they use it, if they drink it or put it in a drink and mix it up like Kool-Aid mix or
apparently it does not mix with anything really. So people tell me that they parachute it, where they put it in like a little soluble thing and just straight down the throat, and
is it
wash it down.
A lot of it? Do you need a lot of it?
Depending on your tolerance, yeah.
So you have to maybe do multiple.
Yeah. I have a regular who, before she switched to the concentrated kratom stuff, she was taking upwards of 120 capsules a day, which is probably, I don't know how much they put in a capsule. Some brands put a full gram in a capsule. So that's 120 grams. I don't know metric system, but it's a lot. That's quite a bit.
Interesting. Yeah. So, you mentioned a story, I think, about kratom before we switched to tianeptine. That didn't you say some of your people will they'll buy it and eat it before they even leave the store?
Yeah, it's not uncommon for people to either buy shots and take a shot while they're still talking to you there at the register, or buy the pills and either take them there at the register or on their way out the door.
Do the shots seem to kick in quick? Are they chilling there? They're
not that quick. There is a regular that tends to kind of hang out for a while, and theirs will kick in while they're still around. But I mean, people who consume this stuff are usually pretty good at keeping their shit together while they're on it. So
interesting. Well, we'll be back with tianeptine.
Mm.
So before we talk about tianeptine, I don't know how I didn't start off with this. I saw some stuff called booger sugar. I've seen some stuff called, which is, from what I understand, is a snortable stimulant, I guess.
Yep.
I've seen something called like Adderall. When I've been traveling across the country, I've seen something called Addy. So it's not necessarily unique to a smoke shop. I've heard about like different herbal supplements that truckers take, that act as stimulants or whatever else. I guess my question is, let's start with booger sugar. Like, do a lot of people buy that?
No.
No. Okay. Gotcha.
I have a college student who will come in and purchase some periodically. Other than that, my other sales that I've been able to do on the booger sugar have been dares, basically, of me being like, come on, like, you want to try some booger sugar? And they'll be like, oh, that's so funny. And then they'll buy it and they'll try it and they'll be like, I don't know why I did that.
Interesting. Okay. What are some of the other ones that I mentioned? At the other stimulant, do you get anybody buying that? The Addy or Adderall or anything like that looks, it's like trying to be Adderall.
Yeah. Yeah, I get people purchasing that one quite a bit more than like the booger sugar. It's still not super popular, but I got some people who are buying it regularly.
Interesting. That's okay. So what tianeptine, is that your second like biggest seller?
Yeah, tianeptine, I mean it definitely sells quite a bit.
And what is it?
So tianeptine is, I don't know exactly what it is. I know it's stronger than kratom. It like kind of is along the same lines.
It's okay.
Okay. But in Europe, tianeptine is often, or not often, but in some places it is a component to antidepressants. So it does have like kind of an antidepressant quality to it, but the difference is that, first of all, in Europe, there are many countries that it's banned in. There are other countries that it is able to be used in, and countries like the UK, when they have tianeptine in an antidepressant, it usually has a maximum dosage of about 12 milligrams of tianeptine. The tianeptine that we sell at my store is probably about 80 something milligrams. And that's on the low side per dose. And people are often taking 10 to 12 doses at a time. So it's super, super concentrated. And yeah, we sell it like crazy. Like we've got these little shots that are supposed to be 2 servings, but most people take them just as single servings. And I can tell you my store sold about 172 of them in a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are the kind of people that, what do they seem like? Are they like the kratom people that are coming in the morning and seem like almost like your stereotypical, again, it's
Addict.
stereotypical, yeah, addict,
Yeah.
or yeah.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, uh, you know, there are more tianeptine customers that I like than kratom customers. But so I shouldn't be like, oh yeah, they're just as bad. They're addicts, but they do buy a lot of it at a time. But it does seem to be a little bit more people who are like on the more unsuspecting side. Um, like it's a lot of women that are buying this, and they don't really seem like the type that would do any sort of drug seeking behavior, or that would be on any sort of like hardcore drugs or anything like that.
Which, by the way, whatever that means.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
In other words, for people that like, we don't mean to be like you, like anybody, like you look like you use drugs. You know,
Yeah.
It's a whole, like, we would hate to have that thought, but like we'd also be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that, like,
Yeah.
sometimes people just like almost fit the part. You're not surprised when this person's asking you for kratom, like,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think that part of that is just like the nature of my industry and the position that I hold and how long I've been there. That yeah, I can, when somebody walks in the door, I can pretty much guess what they're in for. But I do get surprised sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, tianeptine. Now, is it how do people take it?
That one comes in capsules or shots. So people are either taking it in these little tiny shooters or little bitty capsules that are ridiculously expensive.
Do they take the shooters in the store?
Yes, some do. Yeah.
Gotcha. And they seem to, you said mostly women. So, like, did they ever tell you why they use? And has anybody ever told you why they? Has anybody ever told you why they use kratom or tianeptine? Like, I know that, like you said, it seems like it's an opioid replacement, but like, has anybody told you on either drug why they use it?
Yeah, a lot of times, like the people who do disclose, it tends to be like a back injury or back surgery, something
For
like
kratom?
that. For either one, honestly. The tianeptine, I don't get people like really disclosing as much to me aside from saying like, oh yeah, let me get an extra bottle because, my back's been out or, my knee's been hurting me or something like that. We do have some that will come in and they'll be very open in disclosing why they are now using kratom. And it's always a really interesting experience to have somebody open up to you like that, to a stranger. And I do like listen to their stories and everything, but at the same time, like I see a lot of people every day, so it can be kind of hard to remember the specifics.
Sure. Yeah. Any other notes though on tianeptine? Just any thoughts about it? That because we went a while on kratom and we keep kind of returning to it. It sounds like it's kind of similar, maybe.
Yeah, it's basically like the progression from what I understand is that you start out with kratom with the capsules, and then once you're taking a bunch of the capsules, then you just switch to the 7-hydroxy. And then once the 7-hydroxy isn't strong enough for you anymore, you move on to tianeptine. And tianeptine, like when you look it up, it is often referred to as gas station heroin. And it, from what I've heard, like withdrawal wise, it can give you like restless leg syndrome. It can still give you the sweats. It can still give you the tremors, and just like the overall kind of anxious, restless feeling, and sweats and all that. So I probably already said sweats. I don't know. It's also, for the record, I just got off a 9-hour shift and it's after midnight. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can start to wrap up,
it's
I
okay.
guess. Like, um, yeah. Any other thoughts on gas station heroin before I ask my next question? I'm just trying to give you more space on the
Yeah.
topic.
No, I mean, not really that I can think of, just that it's a really crazy thing that, in my opinion, I think it's really funny that people worry so much about, oh, hemp, hemp, hemp. And this stuff is just, it's right there, guys. And it's, yeah, in my opinion, it's more dangerous, but the kids, gotta think of the kids.
Yeah. I mean, aren't these, yeah, to your point, is this, God, I can't even think of what the gas station heroin was called anymore. Tianeptine, kratom. Is it like hemp and that it's completely descheduled and there's no age restrictions on it technically, or does Illinois have some sort of like
Yeah,
rules?
that I am not sure of. I haven't really looked into like legislation wise where
Yeah, I'm
tianeptine and
guessing the
kratom
answer
fall.
is no. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think our age gating is just like our personal store
Just-
policy.
yeah. Is that 21?
No, 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty lit.
Mm.
So you're ranking tianeptine second to kratom, or are you saying which one sells more?
Kratom.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's just like a small niche group of people that are getting to the tianeptine level.
Yeah.
Interesting. Any other substances that you sell that are super popular that we haven't covered already? Is it
Nicotine.
nicotine? Yeah. Still cigarettes? Is it more of the Zen things nowadays, or?
We don't carry any tobacco products in my store.
Oh.
So we have like the nicotine vapes, and we have like a Zen style nicotine pouch that we sell. But yeah,
I've always wanted to try one of those because I wonder, like, I tried chewing tobacco when I was young, just off of a dare, and I threw up because I think I like swallowed my spit or something. And I'm guessing the same applies with Zen. You can't like swallow.
I think you can. Yeah.
It's not like I like. Yeah, I don't know though. It's just like I wasn't even thinking about it, and then somebody was like, "Have you even swallowed?" I'm like, I mean, I guess maybe I don't know.
I think
I just threw up.
Yeah, I think it's the nicotine that makes you sick, honestly. I bet you, dude, if I popped one of those 12 milligram nicotine pouches in your lip, you would be spinning.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like that.
Yeah, because I've had
maybe I start lower. Anyways,
well, yeah, okay. So I had some college boys come in one night and they were real drunk and they were asking for Zins, and I was like, no, these are what I have. And they were like, oh, what strength do you have? Apparently, Zins come in either a 3 or a 6 milligram. Mine come in 6 and 12 milligram. And I told this young man that I had 12 milligrams, and he said, oh, shit, I'm a fucking pussy. That would kill me. And I was like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I probably couldn't do that. I probably need to do like a start with a 3 or something because whatever chewing tobacco was, that was too much. But anyways, I digress. So, nicotine, there's no other. You said you used to sell whippets. You don't anymore. What was that clientele like?
That clientele.
And was it like the Galaxy gas that you see today, or is it all whippets?
Yeah, we had like the little ones and we had the nitrous tanks.
Okay.
The demographic was interesting in that it would either be Wookiees,
big, like hairy guy. Yeah,
like Wookiees, like people who clearly like had not showered in a while, which, you know, your hygiene is your choice, but be mindful of others. And they would come by a lot, or it would be literally people who worked at like the local colleges and like just young professionals looking to let loose for the weekend. The people who were buying them like all the time, though, definitely were Wookiees. They were definitely a type, but there was also this big man that used to come by them regularly, and he would buy a master case, which was 12 50 count boxes at a time. And he would buy sometimes 2 master cases. And I remember one day he came and bought that, and he was like, oh, my knee's hurting. And so I had to carry all those fucking like a big box with 12 little boxes. And that shit, if you've never picked up a box of cream chargers, one box probably weighs a good like 3 to 5 pounds. So, yeah, I got to work out that day on behalf of a man who was approximately the same size as my father.
Yeah. I feel like, do you feel like that you should be able to sell that stuff?
No,
No?
no,
No galaxy gas?
no, no. It kills your brain cells and it like robs your brain of B12. And yeah, I don't, there are so many stupid, stupid people out there in the world. We don't need to be creating stupid people, taking
Well,
like people who are not that stupid and making them stupid.
I think those people are already stupid if
I
they're
know
buying that
you,
much galaxy
again,
glass. Hold on a
you
second.
want everybody to be able to have access to do as many drugs as they choose. That's freedom, baby.
That is how I was going to wrap up this rant. Absolutely. But, no, I just, so I don't enjoy going to the dentist, but I like live in this fantasy world where like, and I actually asked my dentist this last time I was there. It's not, nothing ever bad happens. I actually take, I had my first cavities like the other day in my life, which sucked. And I'm going to make sure to do a lot better about, like, they didn't like hurt or anything. Like, that's the thing. We caught them early and we dealt with it. But anyways, I just have always been nervous when I go to the dentist, even though nothing has ever bad has happened until now, And so I just asked them, I honestly asked them before we were going to do this thing, because not knowing, they said they were going to give me a shot in the mouth and they were going to like do other things to put this cap on to just like help prevent my tooth from ever getting to a place that would be a problem. And anyways, I was just like, can I do some like nitrous or something? They're like, oh no, we don't do that here. And I'm like, no. I mean, like, can I just like go buy some and like, so that I'm chill? Because I've been given nitrous in a surgery before. And I feel like there's a set and a setting for nitrous at that point. Right?
Yeah. I guess I don't think that I've ever needed it, so I
Are you
don't know.
saying that the people that come in and buy nitrous aren't getting dental surgeries done or
I don't
something like
think
that?
so. No. No, there's a different distributor for that kind of nitrous.
It's the same,
Well,
right?
it's the same, but like
I mean, I don't know.
big metal tanks versus our little,
And they connect to your nose. That's what I remember about
right.
when I
It's
got
like
it.
an oxygen tank, but it's full of nitrous. When I worked in dentistry, we had nitrous.
Man, did you hit it all the time?
No, we would joke about it a lot, but like then the dentist would be like, you got to save it for the people who actually need it. And
Damn. What a
so no, I
freaking
never did.
stingy
Yeah,
binge.
I know. It's why I'm so smart. My brain has lots of wrinkles and I've never touched nitrous or anything like that.
So, to close, prohibition doesn't work. Why do you think that, what do you think's the answer?
For getting rid of everything that I sell at
Yeah, I
store.
mean, like, these are new things, and we already know with the opioid epidemic and meth and crack and weed and alcohol and insert drug here that making it illegal doesn't work. So then what?
Kill the people who do it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how like what the answer is.
You were
And
joking.
yes, I was very much joking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know what the answer is to it because like you said, prohibition doesn't work. So taking it away is not from one place is not going
Like,
to prevent
I wish, you've said it a few times on this podcast that I just think everybody should be able to do drugs or whatever. And it's like, I wish we lived in a world where you could say, don't use drugs, and everybody wouldn't use drugs.
Yeah.
My point, like, that'd be really
Mhm.
ideal, right? You
I
could just wave a wand.
I feel like the key to all of it is just like normalization. Like,
And that's kind of what I was about to say, not to cut you off, but just to briefly say that, like, I think that more data would make it even more convincing when you say you don't want to do meth because we have like so much data to point to on what happened when we allowed for pure meth, that wasn't tainted, to be distributed, and these idiots, continue to do it, and these are the things that happened, and so don't do that.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think about things like kratom. Kratom has been a thing and has been around in Southeast Asia forever and ever and ever. And there's not, I mean, I don't know how studied it is, but it doesn't seem that there's like a high rate of abuse, or else I would think that they would be trying to stop it from getting out of Southeast Asia, but I could be
You
wrong. I don't
mean
know.
no abuse in Southeast Asia? Is that what you meant by no abuse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's very common for there to be like cafes where you can go get kratom tea and stuff like that. It's just a part of their lifestyle. And I think that, like, to the point of normalization, like, I'm not saying that we should just make all drugs part of our lifestyle necessarily, but I think that like destigmatizing and educating can make a bit of a difference. I think really, like, the whole thing kind of comes down to mental health care and education. That's kind of the root of all of it, is that people who feel that they have no hope and nowhere to go are willing to do whatever it takes to mentally escape from that. And instead of learning healthy coping strategies, they're handed a meth pipe, by some guy they met somewhere, and um so I think that that's really the root of it. But uh for the people who that is inescapable, um yeah, if we could just kind of destigmatize it, that might help. But I don't know that there really is like a good solid answer aside from start at the bottom, at the root of the issue, and work your way up.
Yeah. Well, do you guys sell spice?
No.
Okay, too.
No.
Damn. Smoke shops are lame these days.
I know, right? Ain't nothing like when I was a kid.
Do many people buy the synthetic cannabinoids? Do you have like Delta 8 and THCP and stuff like that?
Yeah, the THCP stuff is pretty popular. I think that, like, the popularity of those products in our store is really based on anecdotal evidence. And so I tried the THCP gummies and told people that one 8 milligram gummy had me fucking fried for 3 days, and they've been flying off the shelf. I don't know why people, like, how that appeals to people and why people want to try to put themselves through that. But if it sells, move them gummies, baby.
I bought some.
And you won't even try them.
Well, I bought some and I plan to try them, but if I'm going to be high for 3 days, I need to make sure I have 3 days planned out, and I barely plan out a day ahead. So
yeah, well,
an hour ahead.
I know. Sometimes you eat them on a Friday night and shit comes up and you got things to do, and you're still fucking riding that wave.
And it just feels like a really strong edible high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And it kind of like, it literally, like, riding that wave is a perfect analogy for it, because it comes and goes in waves. Like, with THCP, your body doesn't break it down as efficiently as like Delta 8, Delta 9. And so it's almost like it's cyclically remetabolizing and getting broken down.
How do you know all this? Did you look it up?
We have a lot of time on our hands at the smoke shop, and yeah, we look stuff up a lot.
And you were looking this up because you were like, why does it feel like I'm like sober and then high again? Is that
well, I was looking it up.
I feel bad for cutting you off,
No,
but I
you're
was just
fine.
like, you're getting real scientific. So
Well, I look it up because when we get new stuff like that in, first of all, I need to know how to sell it. I need to know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I also need to know if I want to try it or not. So I've looked it up, and then after feeling the effects, do a little bit of a deeper dive, because you're like, what the fuck was that? Why did that do that like that? And and you find out.
Very interesting.
Especially because, like, with THCP specifically, there's a lot of like THCP stuff that's coming out on the market. And so it seems that companies are doing more like independent research into it. I don't know if independent research is the right term, but there seems to be more information about it.
HHC.
HHC.
HHC. Do you sell HHC?
Yeah, we have some products that have HHC in it, but don't ask me about that. I don't know. I gotta go to the cannabinoid cheat sheet.
It's all good. I would just didn't know if people buy it. Do people buy it?
They buy it, but they're never like, do you have any HHC products?
Yeah.
I've never had that.
But
if anything, it's people having the same reaction of you and be like, HHC?
So do people come in and that don't know about what you just said? They come in and they're like, I want THCP.
They come in and they say, I want to get fucked up. And I say, boy, have I got the stuff for you.
Do you have 3 days?
Yeah, you need to kill a couple of days.
Wow.
One of my now former coworkers, so we sell those THCP gummies.
You said it's 8 milligrams, right?
Yes.
That's what's crazy is like,
yeah.
Cause like I can, I drank like 100 milligrams or whatever the other night, and I woke up and I still felt a little bit high. But 8 milligrams, like usually I'd shrug that off. I'd be like, I'll eat 3 of them, but it's like, no,
same.
you just need 8.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe.
When I bought it and took it, when I was buying it, my regional manager was around and he was like, be careful with those. And I said, it's 8 milligrams, dude. And he was like, okay. And I ate the whole thing when I came home. And the next day I was so fucked up. And then the next day I was still fucked up. And I was like, oh no. But one of my now former coworkers, he bought a 10-pack of 10 milligram THCP gummies. And he said, this ain't going to be shit. And he ate the whole thing. He said that he fell asleep on Friday night. And when he woke up, it was Sunday afternoon. And his cats were flipping the fuck out because he has to keep them like locked out of his room because he's allergic to them. And so can you imagine our cat if we did not wake up to feed him for 2 days?
Yeah.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
So that shit's no joke, but it's fun. I like it. That's why I won't touch that like kratom shit, because I think I would probably really enjoy it. I think it would feel really good. And I don't need to know.
You don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
Well, any other bases we haven't covered? I know we've talked quite a while about all these different things, but I mean, you sell fake pee, right?
Yeah, we sell fetish urine is officially what it's called if you call up and ask for it. It's not that like if you call it fake urine, we're still going to know what you're talking about. But I did have a coworker the other night that answered the phone and somebody asked if we sold fake urine, and she said, I don't even think that's legal. And the person on the other end of the phone hung up on her. And she's like, oh my God, they just asked for fake urine. And I held up a box and was like, yeah, we have it right here. And she was pretty embarrassed by that. But yeah, we do sell fetish urine.
Can people buy it because they have a urine fetish, or do they really tell you on that?
They don't usually tell me, but I can guess that it's probably not a fetish. Unless it's their boss's fetish to watch them urinate in a cup.
They use it for drug tests.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Well, Interesting. So no other bases you want to cover? No, none that we haven't covered already.
No, not that I can think of. But if you go to the smoke shop and you walk in the door, somebody's probably going to say, "Hey, how's it going?" And just keep in mind, those are human beings. And it's pretty cool if you go, "Hey, how's it going?" back instead of just being completely silent and wandering through the store.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Overwhelming to say hello back.
Just come into a store with a lot of things to choose from.
Yeah, and the friendliest fucking people you'll ever meet.
Hopefully, ideally. I'm just standing up for people tonight. I don't know. You know,
The fool's errand.
a fool's errand, you say. I don't know. Somebody's got to play the devil's advocate. Somebody's got to be the advocate for the devil. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, just being silly because it's late. Well, I hope people found some value in this conversation. I thought it would be interesting to have. Thank you for taking the time to have it with me.
Yeah.
And I guess, if you're out there and you're doing these drugs, whatever they are, if it's THCP or kratom or tianeptine or whatever, just be careful and ideally don't do them. Obviously, that's the easy answer. But if you're doing them, I don't know, like if you can seek out some professional help, and try to figure out how to not do them, that, try to be healthy, take care of yourself. So that's what I'll end this show with. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, I hope you found value in that conversation. It certainly was interesting for me to talk about what they sell at smoke shops. Like I started this show off with, when you hear about all of the fucking different things that they do sell. Sorry about that. Getting a phone call, including snortable stimulants that look like Adderall. It sounds like heroin. They literally call it gas station heroin. You hear all these people talking about gas station weed. It's like, maybe we should worry about gas station heroin first. I don't know. What do you think? Comment below. I'm curious if you have any thoughts after seeing that. Again, it is Friday. I hope you all are well. That conversation was actually originally recorded, believe it or not, on February 15th, 2025, around midnight. We were having a good time, to say the least. You could see I was still smoking then. I don't know if you guys knew, but I really haven't been using cannabis much at all lately, which might be surprising. Some of you might be like, dude, this guy's baked. But no, I've actually been laying off the pot, been trying to, make some changes in my life. I plan to get back on the pot, don't get me wrong. But just have been definitely slowing down with drugs lately. So again, I'm curious before we wrap, any comments, anything at all. It looks like we had some lively conversation during this episode. And, in any case, I hope you found value in this episode, because there's certainly a lot of crazy things going on out there. So, well, I'm not seeing any comments roll in. I will just say that I've got a lot more episodes on the back burner, some really interesting ones, including episodes with people that don't believe weed should be legal at all. Oh, those people are so fun to talk to. I did a interview with Ray Long, a reporter from the Chicago Tribune, who's been reporting for longer than I've been alive. I think for the last 40 years. In Springfield, Illinois, specifically covering Michael Madigan, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently charged with several different crimes. I'm not even going to say them. Look up Michael Madigan if you're not sure what I'm talking about. He was pretty well known as one of the most powerful people in the state of Illinois. Again, folks, hope you enjoyed this episode of the Cole Memo. We'll see you on the next one. Go to my website, colememo.com, or check out our Patreon page to get access to episodes as they release. That's colememo.com/Patreon, colememo.com/PATREON. Looks like we just got a comment Apparently, my story was read on High at 9 today. I did not see that. I will definitely check that out. In case you don't know what they're talking about, go to colememo.com. The odor-proof bill that I've been covering over the last few years just passed the Senate. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about at all, I think this is a good plug for my mini documentary, which is available for streaming now at colememo.com/minidoc. And if you want a brief taste as to what is in my mini documentary, well, here you go. Happy Friday.
Beginning January 1st, 2020, the recreational use of cannabis will be legal in the state of Illinois.
Available to stream now, my mini doc dives into the history of Illinois legalization, starting with
January 1st, what should we expect? The biggest thing that we need people to understand is that January 1, in terms of the criminal justice system here in this state, is the end of prohibition.
see how Illinois missed its chance at real cannabis reform with key failures, including the fact that
the program includes regulation on possession limits.
So people can still be arrested for a possession.
And I want to highlight that in its first year of legalized recreational marijuana in the state of Illinois, they arrested 3 times as many black people for possession than any other race.
We've run into so much cannabis, we've run out of places to put it.
I have represented people and taken their cases through the court system who got charged with more serious crimes only because the police said that they smelled cannabis. And not because the police said you have illegal cannabis, or not because you have too much cannabis, or not because you're high on cannabis, but because I can smell it and that's it.
Attorney goes, he understands that he can't be smoking and his cannabis flower shouldn't be open. And I was like, I'd like to say for the record that I was not smoking and my flower was not open.
So that's where we're at right now in Illinois, and I hope it changes.
Start watching now at colememo.com/minidoc.